this.
All right, guys. It's Brad with College SportsCast, and we are here to do Week 12 GameDay Pick'em Show.
So let's do it. Let's do it. Is he still watching the video?
There we go. All right. All right. I had to wait for my mic to come back. It shuts my mic off while the video's playing. Our college game day Pick'em show. I've got John Hammonds and John Roberts with me tonight. What's up, guys?
What's happening?
Last week in the Pick'ems, just so you know.
Wait, what was it?
Both of you were 6-3.
Oh.
And both of you in the football, y'all were both 6-3, and both 3-3 in basketball.
Yeah, I know I missed at least 1 or 2 in basketball.
4-5 in football and 2-4 in the basketball.
The John's rule and the Brad is frozen.
That's the stats there. I got them on the bottom.
His mic's going in now.
But the Johns were really good. We're really good at picking.
You guys hear me? Everything good?
Yeah, it's kind of going. You're kind of like freezing every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
We'll get over the hump here. Let's get into it.
We're going to start picking, guys. For the season, you can see the season stats there. And college basketball, we just started last week. All right, so we've got 9 games this week, guys, to pick. The first game we're going to pick this week is Miami's a 1-point favorite.
John, you want this first?
Hammonds, what do you think on the Louisville-Miami game?
Well, Louisville's playing for a lot right now. They're playing for at least a New Year's Six bowl. So, they've only got 1 conference loss. So if they pretty much win this weekend, they're pretty much locked into the championship game against Florida State in 2 weeks. Louisville is averaging 251 passing yards per game. Yeah, they're a lot. And Miami's pass defense is not real good. I think they're like 68th in the country, I think. So, and Miami only passes 50% of their plays. And Louisville's got an elite rush defense, I think. I think they've improved, especially with what Braum's brought to the table in his first year. I would pick Miami in this game, but Miami has just been a train wreck. Let's be honest. They haven't really, except for the Texas A&M game, they haven't really looked that impressive to me after the losses that they've took. So I think I'm going to take, Louisville, is it Miami 1? I'm going to take Louisville to cover.
How do you take Louisville to cover other than just Louisville to pick it?
Well, I'm just going to pick Louisville then. I don't know. I'm just not good at bet. I'm not good at bet. I'm not good at betting. I don't know. I'm guessing it's just they win straight up. I'm guessing.
Yeah, basically that's what you're going to be picking.
You get the 1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think Miami has. I mean, it's going to be close, but I just don't think Miami's not really. They're not playing for an ACC championship. They're just going for a bowl game. And
they played with Florida State last week.
They did, but they just I don't know. They're just too up and down and inconsistent for me to pick them this week.
And Louisville losing their one game was just to a really bad
John Roberts, what do you think?
Bad Pitt team. And that was not good. But that's always kind of is in the back of your mind that they could drop one to a bad team. But I think that Louisville wins this one. I think they win, by a touchdown or so. Anyway, so I think you're going to see Louisville win, and I just and we'll get a lot of fun comments from from our group chat that we have going with the fanboys, because I think it's always fun watching everybody pile on Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Miami showed me something last week, but they are going back to their quarterback because they're the quarterback that started.
Yep. He froze again.
Yeah.
Because of that, I'm going to go with Louisville as well. I'm going to go with Louisville. All right. Our next one we're going to go to is Utah favorite.
So in case you can't hear what he's actually saying, he is talking about Utah at Arizona. Arizona is a 1-point favorite. John, what do you have?
This game's a toss up. Arizona's rolling right now. Utah to me has struggled a lot offensively this year without Cam Rising. But they've still been able to put it together, especially on defense. Arizona, to me, has gained a lot of confidence as the seasons went on. They've won, I think, 4 straight. I think they've got 2 victories over ranked foes. And still, they fell to Washington by 7 and only USC by 2 in triple overtime earlier in the year. So they've been competitive all season long. They got a lot of momentum. And they're at home in this game. And I think Arizona wins this game. I think they cover this game. Especially, I don't think Utah is particularly that good on offense, on the offensive side of the ball. Now, their defense is pretty good. They're special on defense. But I think Arizona has enough offense to win this game. So give me Arizona in the 1 point. I think they'll cover the spread.
Of course they will. If they win the game, they've covered it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What you were saying about all that, I do agree with you on this, and I like Arizona as well. I think Arizona will is playing really well currently, and the fact that they're at home, I think in the Pac-12, while the defenses have been some of the defenses are pretty good, like a Utah, I think that this one the offense here is going to take it, and I believe that would be that leans toward Arizona. So I'm picking Arizona.
All right, I'm going to go with Arizona as well, and just kind of go with you guys on this one. The next one we're going to is Georgia at Tennessee. Georgia's a 10.5 point favorite.
And you're jumping out early with the with having Georgia and Tennessee being picked this early.
I'll be honest with you. There's a part of me that wants to pick Tennessee in this game because it's on the road. And then there's a part of me that just knows, what Georgia does. And they just continue to win. Every time we have, Georgia, we feel like they got a kink in the armor. It's like they just turn it up another notch. We saw it last week with Ole Miss. Everybody thought, oh, hey, Ole Miss is going to hang with them for 4 quarters. And Georgia just put the game away by halftime, third quarter. It was over with. Georgia's on a different level right now. They're playing at a different level. Quarterback play is unreal right now, with Carson Beck. They got Brock Bowers back. Ladd McConkey's playing really well right now. And the defense is actually stepping up. They're playing a lot better than they did early in the year. Even though it's in Knoxville, I still got to take Georgia. Kirby Smart just knows how to win. And he knows how to get his players motivated. He's a motivator. He knows he's just one of the better coaches in the country at making his players get prepared for a game. I've never seen a team, for me, Georgia, that is so disciplined and crisp at everything that they do, especially defensively and offensively. It's like a flawless game that they play, and they don't make a lot of mistakes. And I just don't think they're going to do that this weekend in Knoxville. I think Tennessee's in for it this weekend. I think Georgia wins by 10.5, the spread.
God, I feel so.
John Roberts,
I feel terrible because I'm going to be just doing nothing but agreeing with John here, and but I think with Brock Bowers back, and getting acclimated into the offense, and now kind of putting everybody, Georgia's getting healthy again, and they're going to become very, very scary. They're going against Tennessee.
Here's the thing, John. I tell people, John, we always think, hey, Georgia's going to have a bad game, and then it's like a light switch comes on. It's like okay, I'll give you an example. I think it was the South Carolina game. They was down 14-3 at halftime. It was just like a different team started playing. It's like they know when their backs are against the wall, they know how to win and they know how to figure it out.
And they were down 10 twice against Auburn and figured it out in the fourth quarter.
It's just there's so much discipline there. There's so much like I said, they're crisp at what they do, the way they make plays on defense. Now their defense is going to give up quite a bit of yardage at times because they're not the defense that they've had in the last couple of years.
Right.
But they make plays when it matters. And that's why I think Georgia – I'm still holding my prediction out from the preseason. I still think they three-peat. Until somebody beats them, I just don't.
I just don't think the team that can beat them has played them yet. I think that team is waiting for them in Atlanta.
Yeah,
what are you picking on this one?
Oh, I'm picking Georgia to cover. So it's like I said,
what Hammonds is doing. What are you doing?
Yeah, I said I picked Georgia to cover. So. Because I agreed with him. That's why I said I'm going to do that
with you guys on these. I mean, so far, yeah.
It's unlike Tuesday's show where we actually had a fuss.
Tennessee's abysmal showing, yeah. after their abysmal showing against Missouri last week, I can't imagine that they can really challenge Georgia. I just can't.
Well, I think they can still. I think they can
Georgia.
still put some more than 7 points on the board, but I still think Georgia, beats them by more than, 10.5.
Yeah.
So I think they cover. So yeah.
More than 10.5.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. So this one's a little interesting. North Carolina's, been up in there all year. Clemson's kind of struggled, but it's at Clemson, and Clemson is a 7-point favorite at home against North Carolina. So, Hammonds, what do you think about this one?
Man, this might be one of the better games of the day, to be honest. According to the odds makers, we're looking at this from the fact that maybe Clemson is getting back on track. Let's be real here. And North Carolina has had a couple games where they've just
absolutely.
They've not looked like North Carolina. They've had some dunkers, some dink and dunkers. So I just don't think they can go into Clemson and win this game. Clemson, even though it's not Clemson of old, it's still Clemson. I do think Clemson's going to struggle, especially against Drake May, because Drake May is probably one of the better quarterbacks in the country. And another thing, too, on this game, North Carolina is still playing for a huge bowl. That has a lot of big factors into this game. Clemson can destroy that opportunity, that plan this weekend.
They still have a shot at the ACC championship if they win and lose.
They do. If they lose to Miami. So I'm just going to go with the home team here. I just think Clemson's finally putting it together. They finally put it together against Notre Dame a couple of weeks ago, and then last week they put it together again. And I think this week they'll put it together and play a full 60 minutes of football with beating North Carolina at home.
Like a broken record, I'm going to agree with John.
Do you think they cover the 7?
I think they win by anywhere like 13 to 17 points is what I'm thinking right now. Clemson. So not only does Clemson cover, but Clemson wins by double digits. So, and I think it's because Clemson has finally figured out how to play Clemson football. They had their rough patch early on in the season, but I think they figured out how to play. And it's just, unfortunately for them, it's too little too late for them to get back into things, but they can absolutely wreck somebody else's season. So, which that is what they could do
just
this week.
For the sake of us all not being together.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of us all not being together on every single one of these so far, I'm going to take North Carolina and take the 7 points.
That's your fault.
Be my guest.
Because we've been exactly the same the entire time so far.
All the way through. Yep.
All right. So the next game we're going to talk about is Kansas State plays at Kansas. Kansas State is an 8-point favorite in Lawrence in this game. Hammonds, what do you think about this one?
To me, this has always been a rivalry game. Kansas State's quarterback, Howard, is probably playing his best football going into this game. And I just don't trust Kansas's defense. Kansas State has won 14, I think, in a row in this series. But the biggest question mark to me is Kansas State is 1-3 on the road this year. Well, that's another part of this that I just don't maybe see them covering the spread. I think Kansas covers, especially on the road, because Kansas State has not been a good road team this year. They lost at Missouri. and a couple other games on the road. So I do think Kansas State wins, but I think Kansas covers this game. I just, that 1-3 road record kind of jumps out at you because they haven't been particularly really good on the road.
I think you're going to just need to have me go first, so it doesn't sound like all I'm doing is listening to John and then just saying what he said. So
The guru.
Yeah, that's right. So again, I was about to pick Kansas to cover, and I was just like, God, here he is, saying the exact same thing that I was doing. But again, I mean, last week we were the same. We were 6-3, 3-3 in basketball, 6-3 in football. So I mean, right now it sounds like we're just in sync with each other. It's the Johns are just absolutely taking over right now, and I think that's what's going to end up happening.
The only difference is you're an Auburn fan, and I'm a Kentucky fan. So hey.
Yep. So that means I'm better. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh God.
So if you guys are going the same, I'll go different again, just so we can have something different and try to have some different numbers. So I'll take Kansas State on the road. We can't all go the same every time. That's ridiculous, guys.
No,
ridiculous.
I don't know. Hey, you're writing it and you're telling me to go.
All right.
Go second.
All right. You want this one first, Mr. John Roberts? We got Washington.
I'm going Oregon State
is a 2.5 point favorite.
That's who I'm going with right there, Oregon State. And I was calling this once Washington beat Utah, because I was thinking that Utah would beat Washington last week. And I immediately was looking at it and I went, Oregon State, because they're going to go play. They're going to play in Corvallis. Corvallis is just a weird place to get to. And not only a weird place to get to, but a weird place to play. And things happen in that stadium, especially at night. And I think Oregon State tops off Washington and takes them out of the ranks of the unbeaten. So,
well, this is where we're going to be different. I got Washington in this game. Give me the +2.5. I just think Washington has the better quarterback in this game. Michael Penix Jr. I just think he makes plays in crunch time, and I just don't think Oregon State's going to be able to stop their passing offense. Oregon State, though, I will say this: they have one of the best rush defenses in the country, but it's not going to make up for the fact that they're not going to be able to stop what Michael Penix Jr. is able to do. I think this is going to be a back and forth type game. It's going to be loud. It's probably the biggest game Oregon State's had at Corvallis in quite a while, especially with the opponent that they've got coming in the top 5, top 6. So, but I think Washington's on a collision course for the college football playoff and the Big Pac-12 championship. So give me Washington in the 2.5.
Okay. I mean, I've been with Washington all year. They have, they're still undefeated. They went through a very good Pac-12. I'm going to stay with them this week, and I'm going to take Washington in the 2.5 points.
Yep.
Our next game we're going to talk about is Texas is a 7.5 point favorite at Iowa State. John Roberts, what do you think about this one?
I think Iowa State covers this one. I just think Texas isn't necessarily just been as dominant as they have been. Now, I know they got Gwen Ewers back, but they just haven't been as dominant, and allowing TCU to almost come back and win against them last week. I really feel
Houston too.
Houston as well. But just watching them go up, what was it, 29-6 or something like that over, and then just watch them come back and absolutely nearly pull the victory off. But yeah, I'm going Iowa State to stay inside the number. So
I got Texas, but I don't think they cover this game. My biggest thing with Texas is they got the talent. They just don't seem focused at times. They had the TCU game and they had the Houston game. And I'm going to be honest with you. Going to Ames, Iowa is a tough environment to play in, especially at Iowa State. And they've kind of turned their season around late in the year. So this will not be an easy road game for Texas. I think they get out of this game by the skin of their teeth in another tight game that they need to put away with. Like, if Texas wants to impress the committee, they've got to win a game going away at some point. I know they beat Alabama, but you cannot continue to scrape by against TCU, Iowa State, Houston, and possibly this game, and expect not to get beat somewhere down the road, because eventually it's going to bite them in the tail.
So both. All right. I'm going to take Texas. I think Texas covers this 7.5 points. So give me the Longhorns. Our next game we're going to talk about is Michigan. Michigan goes to Maryland. Michigan is a 19-point favorite at Maryland. John Roberts.
Yeah, give me Michigan. Michigan's going to cover this one over Maryland. I just don't think Maryland's got the horses to play with Michigan. I think Michigan's defense is really, really good, and I don't think Tua's brother Talia Tagovailoa is going to be able to do anything against this Michigan defense. So give me Michigan running away 3 touchdowns.
Well, and Maryland is very defensive prone to make mistakes, and J.J. McCarthy is having an absolute unbelievable year this year. He's probably one of the better quarterbacks in the country right now, right next to Michael Penix and these others that we don't talk about. I'm not saying he's in that top league with him, but he's underneath those. That he's been underrated all year and actually had a really good year. So I just think Maryland's not going to be able to handle Michigan. I don't think they're going to handle the run game. I don't think they're going to be able to handle their passing game. So give me Michigan in the 19 points. And it's going to be, and if you haven't noticed, that's going to be Michigan South over there. There's a lot of fans going to take that stadium. So.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. I think Michigan's defense is going to carry them to over 19. So I'm going to be with both of you on this one.
Well, I mean, we're more or less just
Michigan
getting ready.
As well.
We're just getting ready for the game next week. It's just
the game.
The game. It's just a collision course to the game. So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right. So this is the last football game. We're going to do 9 of them. This is the last one. Florida goes to Missouri. Missouri is 11-point favorite. Missouri is around the top 10. They're still trying to get a New Year's Day bowl. So, they're second place in the East. And how do you think this game turns out, John Roberts?
Oh man, Florida has been helter skelter. Missouri has done really well up until they got beat by Georgia. Um, mm, mm. We're gonna go. Missouri is gonna go ahead and handle business. They're gonna win by over 11. So I am I'm going Missouri. I'm going with the Missouri offense is going to be able to put up numbers against Florida's defense, and I think Missouri wins this one.
You know what really bothers me about this game?
All right.
Florida gave up, 701 yards last week and 52 points to LSU. Now, I'm not saying Missouri offense is better than LSU's, but you saw what happened last week with Cody Schrader, and Florida's rush defense has been really bad. Schrader rushed for 205 yards and 100 receiving yards against Tennessee. Florida's defense is going to be it's not going to be pretty, I don't think. Now, Florida might score some. They might get to 20. They might get to 24. But I think Missouri's going to have more than that. Florida is in a bad spot right now. You know, they're reeling. They've lost to Georgia. They've lost to LSU. Now they're most likely, to me, they're going to lose to Missouri. And you even said it in preseason. You said Billy Napier might not even make a bowl game, and that's what we're heading towards.
They're going 5-7, 5-7 because they got 5-5 right now. They're about to lose the last two games
because they play FSU next week. So
that's right. I
just don't see them going to Missouri. Yeah. Missouri's playing really good right now, and they're playing for a big bowl right now. Give me Missouri in the 11 points. They cover the spread.
All right. Hey, as we go into basketball, let me step away for a minute.
All right. I mean,
y'all keep going. Okay. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So for me on this game, I mean, you know, the season's kind of playing out very similar to what I thought it would play out for Florida. I looked at their schedule. Their schedule is really tough. And they have a tough schedule next year as well. Looking at it, just so you know, it's actually even more rough next year than it has been this year. So for me, I mean, Missouri's been playing really well. I mean, they clobbered Tennessee last week at home. I just don't see Florida being able to come in there and hang with them. So give me Missouri. I can't pick Florida to do anything in this game. So, to finish up the college football section of the show, I'm going to say Florida as well. So we picked 9 games, and then I have 6 games that are being played tomorrow night. These are Friday night games for college basketball. They're the feast week starts tonight. There's some tournaments that are going on right now. I've actually watched LSU blow a 15-point lead against Dayton a little bit in the second half a while ago. And they got beat. But anyways, so the feast week stuff's going on. There's a couple of Gavitt games tomorrow night. And this Kansas State versus Providence, this is at Providence, by the way. I should have put that in there. Is one of those Gavitt games. And there's 2 of them tomorrow night. Finishes up. Providence is a 1-point favorite in this game. Ammons, what do you think about this one?
Well, to me, these two teams I think are similar. You know, they got good, solid scoring guards. Kansas State's got Tyler Perry. I think he was a transfer from North Texas. They got Cam Carter. Providence has got Devin Carter, Jaden Pierre. But I think the biggest difference is going to be in the paint with Hopkins. I think he's going to make a difference in this game. Their rankings are kind of similar on their KenPom rankings. I just think Providence is better, and I take Providence to cover. Kansas State is going to struggle this year without solid guard play. They had Marquise Noel last year. Early in the year they lost to USC. USC put a beating on them early in the year. This ain't the same K-State team that they had a year ago. There's just a lot of work in progress. Now I think they'll be better by conference play, by the Big 12, but right now they're trying to figure things out and figure where they're going to go. But I think this game's tight. I think it's going to be a close game. But Providence covers in the end, and they win the game.
Yeah, for me, I do believe that so far early in this season, Providence has looked like a pretty good team. And I think Kansas State lost a little bit and is kind of recovering from that. I'm not saying that they won't. They have a really good coach. Tang is a great coach, so they probably will.
Clubber Tang.
But having said that,
Clubber Tang.
Yeah, I mean,
John Rothstein.
Yeah. Having said that, I agree with you in the paint. I think is where Providence probably wins this game. Bryce Hopkins is really been a good player for them since he transferred from Kentucky over there. So give me Providence. It's just a 1-point game. So the spread really, if they win, they win. So
it's different for basketball than it is football, really.
Yeah. All right. So the next game is actually an interesting game here. This is part of a little tourney that is starting up, and Butler goes to Michigan State. Michigan State's already lost 2 games. Butler's 3-0. Michigan State is 1-2. And they are an 8-point favorite at home in this game. What do you think about this one, Hammond?
My biggest thing is their percentage from the arc. They're shooting 16% from the field, for the season.
15.4 or something like that. Yeah.
And that's not good. That's a major concern for me, especially with Izzo going forward. Butler, they hit the transfer portal. It's starting to show on their team. It's definitely a big step up for Matta and them. I think they have enough size to compete with Michigan State, especially on the road. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like Tyson Walker and I like Malik Hall, but there's there's no beyond them. It's to me, it's not a really good basketball team, and that's just my thoughts.
They haven't showed it so far.
I'm gonna go upset pick here. I think Butler steals one here on the road. I think they cover.
You want to pick them to cover? Okay.
Yeah. I think Michigan State, to me, is staring down the barrel of a 1-3 start, and that ain't good.
That would be absolutely devastating, considering they were the 4th-ranked team preseason. Everybody thought this was going to be one of Izzo's best teams in the last 8 or 10 years.
Well, I'm going to be.
If they start out 1-3 and 2 losses at home, Hammonds. If they lose this would be 2 losses at home against not Power 5, Power 6 teams.
I'm going to be honest with you. We saw, for me, I think we saw the best 2 teams Tuesday night in the 9:30 slot. Kentucky and Kansas. I think those 2 are the best 2 teams.
Honestly, that wasn't a very good game to watch. The Duke Michigan State game. I didn't think either team looked fantastic.
It felt like every single time it just felt like Big Ten basketball. It was just like they couldn't score at times.
The biggest thing here with this game is Michigan State is literally shooting 31% from the floor and 15% from the three-point line. If they cannot improve that, they're in for a very, very, very long season. So I'm going to take the 8 points at Michigan. I'm not saying that Butler's going to win, but give me the 8 points. At least that's what I'm going to say early in this season for right now, the way it's looked.
And Josh, I will agree with you on that. I don't even think Duke is at their regular Duke team this early either. They have some spots where they need to work. So
he says Tom Izzo won't let them lose again. Jerry Carter does. And you're talking about Josh Hart talking about the Duke game here. So I'll get that up real quick before we move on. Yeah, I wasn't all that impressed with either team the other night, to be honest. All right, the next one we're going to talk about tomorrow night is Florida is a 6-point favorite versus Florida State in basketball tomorrow night. So, Hammonds, what do you think about this game?
I think Florida wins this game. I know they lost to Virginia, which they only lost by 3. He has 2 starters returning from last year.
Right.
But expectations this year in Gainesville are really, really high, especially with Riley Kugel. He's back. They did lose Colin Castleton, which that was a big loss for them. But at the same time, they ended up getting Will Richards back. Walter Clayton Jr., I think he's a transfer. He's from Iona. And I think they're waiting on another guy for eligibility, Zion Pullen. I think he come from UC Riverside. So Florida's got some pieces this year to compete in the SEC. And I think they win this game at home. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. FSU has not really looked like FSU recently. Last year was very, very bad in Seminole land compared to the last 3 or 4 years. So, but I still think Leonard Hamilton's a good coach. He's going to figure it out. He's going to get players to come there because he always does. But at the end of the night, I just think Florida has too much. I think they win this game at home. And they steal a game. Like this is a big game, really, in terms of down the road tournament resume type deals.
It is. I will say this about FSU last year. They come out and was terrible, but they had a couple of players hurt. Cam Fletcher, who transferred from Kentucky, has been down there, and he was hurt. He only played 10 games last year, and it was early, and then he was out. And then they had another player or two that was out and hurt most of the season.
Gainey, their big lineup. Their big man, Gainey, he got hurt.
Gainey, yeah, he was hurt and out. So I mean, they did play without a lot of their, best players, and that's the reason why they had such a terrible season last year. I believe they are back this time, and I do think this Florida team is a lot better. They picked up a lot in the transfer portal. And I think they're going to be a player. And by a player, I mean, in that 5th or 6th range in the SEC, and could make the NCAA tournament. 6-point favorite here seems a little strong.
High. Yeah,
it is. It seems a little strong if you ask me. A 6-point favorite, but having said that, I don't know. I think I'm going to take Florida. Isn't that who you took was Florida?
Yeah, Florida. Yeah.
All right. I think I'm going to take Florida. The point spreads is always messing with me on these a little bit.
Yeah, well, the basketball, you just don't know. Like football, you can pretty much know, guarantee. But basketball, you just don't know until the game until they start playing. Like there's completely different momentums of the game.
Yeah, this is true. So our next game tomorrow night, Maryland is at Villanova. This is the last game of the Gavitt games. Maryland at Villanova tomorrow night. Villanova is a 5.5 point favorite at home. This is at home for them.
I like Villanova to cover this game. Maryland was a team coming into the year everybody thought would be a surprise team. They're just a mess, man. They looked awful on the offensive end in the Asheville tournament, especially against teams like Davidson and UAB. Villanova is more talented, and I think they're going to be aggravated after losing to Penn last week. So I think Villanova will take their frustrations out on Maryland. I think Villanova will win this game. They got a really good player in Moore. Moore is probably one of the better players in the country. They got TJ Bamba. He had 20 points in the first two games. Bamba is a transfer from Washington State. He's a really good player. Give me Villanova to cover. I think they figure it out and they win this game on Friday night. Maryland's just their offense is just it's atrocious right now. And they're going to have to figure things out early in non-conference play because the Big Ten is going to be hard for them if they continue to play this kind of offensive style of ball.
Well, Maryland, so their head coach, Willard, Kevin Willard.
Yeah, Kevin Willard.
I actually played high school ball against. I played high school ball against Kevin Willard.
I think Ralph's his daddy. Am I right?
Yeah, Ralph is his dad. He was the coach at Western when he was here. That's the reason why he went to Bowling Green High School. I was in a county school here, but I played against him. Point guard, could shoot, really good player. He's picked up from his dad and from Patino, to be honest with you. His dad, Ralph Willard, was a longtime Patino assistant and then coached himself. And Kevin went to Pitt and played for his dad. And I'm really kind of surprised to see them struggle because he's really a good coach. I will say that. So I expect to see Maryland get on.
If you're struggling with UAB and Davidson, you're going to have a hard time against teams in the Big Ten. It's just going to be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. Maryland, they come on kind of strong last year. I think you will see them do the same. Right now, the way they've been playing, I've got to go Villanova. I mean, it's just – I just don't see how you pick Maryland at Villanova right now, the way they've been playing. But I just wanted to give a background and a story to Maryland and Kevin Willard.
Another thing, too, is Maryland's always do that one game where they upset somebody. That it's like last year, they beat Purdue, I think, when Purdue was number 1 or number 2.
They did. And they come on and made the NCAA tournament last year and stuff. So, I mean, and that was Kevin Willard's first year at Maryland. So this is just his second year.
Yeah.
And we'll see, but I do expect them to kind of turn things around as the season goes along. But we'll see what happens. This next game, John, is like these two teams. They're kind of the two teams that are really, not in that Power 5, but they play some really good ball. We have St. Mary's versus, that's supposed to say San Diego. not San Diego. Whoops.
Oh.
I didn't see that. My bad. That's a typing error on my bad.
Oh, goodness.
San Diego State. I'm sorry, guys. Yes, you can laugh about that. It's all right. San Diego State is a 1-point favorite.
They've won 2 of their first 3 games. They did lose to BYU. They played well offensively so far. I think they've scored over 75 points per game. They do a good job of finding the open guy. The biggest thing with San Diego State is they rebound the ball really well. They do a good job on the paint. They know how to get to the glass. They're really good at controlling the glass. I just think they're going to have a hard, St. Mary's is going to have a hard time slowing down this Aztec team. To me, they haven't really played well offensively except for Aiden Mahaney. He's been their go-to guy for St. Mary's. And I just think that, they're going to have more help beyond this game, especially if they want to get back to where they was last year, especially in the tournament. But I just think San Diego State is going to put them down defensively. They've been holding their opponents to under 70 points. Give me San Diego State to cover the spread. I just really like how San Diego State controls the glass and how they rebound the ball. They did it all tournament last year. You've seen every game that looked like they was out of it, and bam, they'd be right back in the middle of the game. It was just that they play hard every single play, every single minute. And that's what I like about this Aztec team. And they're going to be right there again this year. Just because they lost to BYU, that was one game. They're going to be a problem in the Mountain West this year.
The Gonzaga killer out there for the last several years. It seems like they get them every year at least once. I mean, I'm talking about when I say get them, I mean beat them, because they play in the same conference and they usually match up in the conference finals as well. So Jerry Carter says it's a sad day. You can laugh. It's all right. It's okay. That was a typo. That was my bad.
Tomorrow, Joshua.
I said it's all right. It's my mistake.
Tomorrow game.
These are all Friday night games, Josh. Yeah, they're Friday night games. All of these games are. So, having said that, I think San Diego State is the better team here early on, at least. I think they have, a few players back from the national championship runner-up team. And, I feel like – I know they lost to BYU BYU.
They got Butler back. Butler's back this year, one of their main cogs, the one that hit the game-winning shot last year.
Right. Yeah. So give me San Diego State in this game. It's just a 1-point game, so give me San Diego State. And then the last game that we're going to talk about, and this is kind of the late game tomorrow night, and it is Washington versus Xavier. And these are in some of these tournaments, and it's a late game tomorrow night. Xavier is a 3-point favorite, and against Washington, I think that both teams are 2-1. Xavier,
I think,
lost to Purdue the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier lost to Purdue. I think both teams are 2-1.
They did.
Yeah. They lost like 85-70 or something like that to Purdue the other night.
They did.
Yeah.
I like Xavier. I like Xavier in this game. I'm just not sold on Washington right now. Especially, But the way they played the other night, they didn't look really They didn't look really good. I can't remember who they lost to. I think it was a smaller team, I think. But Sean Miller just knows how to get these guys to play ball. He knows how to win. He's been around the block. Arizona, Xavier. This is actually his second stint at Xavier, so I think he's got a good team this year. He had a good team last year. Had a team last year that many thought early in the year could challenge for the Final Four, and it just kind of collapsed for them. I don't know. They just never was the same team after they had a few injuries. I think none got hurt, or a couple of guys got hurt last year, and they just never was the same team again. But they got some good players coming in this year. Desmond Cloud, I think, is one of them. I think he's a sophomore. Desmond Claude. And then they got I'm trying to think. I think they got a guy named Trey Green. I think he's a freshman, and Schwang. So they got a pretty good team. I'm just not sold on Washington right now. There's just a lot of, if you're depending on Keon Brooks and Severe Wheeler all year, it's going to be tough. They're going to have somebody step up. Those two, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're Kentucky guys. I liked them while they was here, but you got to have extra help, and they didn't get no help the other night. And it seems like, this was a surprise pick to shake up things in Pac-12, but they haven't really impressed me yet. And to me, I think this is a show-me year for Hopkins at Washington, the coach. To me, if he doesn't have a year like they think, I think he's out the door. I think they move on and find another coach. But
yeah, I mean, especially after getting a transfer with Keon Brooks last year, and he's back for a second year, and then getting Severe Wheeler, who has played with him. I think they're expecting to, at least make a run at the NCAA tournament this time.
Well, at least get maybe an 8 or 9 seed, maybe. I mean, I know they're probably not going to win the championship, but at least get into the tournament and see where you can go. You know what I mean?
I think they're expecting to make. Yeah, I think they're expecting to make a run. This is an absolute statement game for them. I mean, Xavier was preseason ranked. I know they lost already, but I'm pretty sure they were preseason ranked. I'm not sure. I didn't pay attention to the bottom of the poll. I don't know if they fell out. I don't know if they're still ranked or not, to be honest with you. But they're in that top 25 discussion. And if, Washington can come in and get a win in this game, it'd make a major statement for them and a big step.
The team that they lost to Washington was Nevada, a team that is a scary team in the Mountain West, a team that I've been telling people to watch out for in the Mountain West.
And Nevada's been very good in the Mountain West the last few years. They're a good team.
And they're only getting better as long as they keep the bats in control.
Yeah, they're a good team out there. Yeah. So I'm gonna say give me Washington and the 3 points in this one.
The bat story.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say give me the 3 points, even though I am a Sean Miller fan and I do like this Xavier team. I'm just doing this because I think that this is a statement game that Washington, if they're going to make any noise this year, this is a game they need to step up and show the world that they can make some noise. So,
and I kind of want to do something real quick. I know that we picked up some other games, but there's a couple other games of note tomorrow night. There's or tomorrow afternoon rather. Miami, Florida plays Georgia.
Georgia,
it's in a
Georgia,
tournament.
Miami.
Yeah, they play. I think
Georgia and Miami. Yeah.
They play. Yeah, Charleston plays Wyoming. That'd be a really good game. Charleston is they lost today, but it'll be a decent game there. Vermont plays St. Louis, a mid-major against Travis Ford. That will be a decent game. And I kind of want to give a shout out. We don't do this very often, especially with high school football. But there's an anticipated game tomorrow night, Friday night, in Boyle County, Kentucky, between Boyle County and Corbin. And I know that we don't do this very often with high school football, but both of them are undefeated. I think Corbin's only allowed 56 points on defense, and I think Boyle County's averaging, 50-something, 30-something points. If you're, and I think they're going to stream the game.
46 or something like that.
Something like that. I don't even know if they're streaming the game. I think somebody said they were streaming the game, but I just kind of want to give a shout out to Boyle County. Corbin.
The two Smith.
They got the two Kentucky boys, the Smith twins.
Corbin's got the Smith twins that are going to Kentucky on their team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted
it's
to just
number one versus number two in the state. Josh is in there. And just so you guys know, it's 1 versus 2 in the quarterfinals. I don't understand how they have this matched up and how I just don't understand how when one team won last week, then all of a sudden Corbin and Boyle was playing in the quarterfinals of 4A. That doesn't make any sense to me. That needs fixed, if you ask me. Because if another team had won or lost last week, if another team had won or lost, they wouldn't have matched up, and that makes no sense with them being number 1 and number 2.
It don't, and here's
it just
my
doesn't
thing.
make any sense to me.
I'm not a fan of this whole RPI system, because what you're doing is you're knocking teams out of the chance to meet each other in the state finals. The game tomorrow night between Boyle and Corbin should be played in the state championship.
I mean, these are both two teams in the state meeting in the quarterfinals.
And I'm going to even go as far as say this: the winner of this game will win the state finals, because I don't think there's nobody beyond them that can beat either one of these teams, because both of them are undefeated, and I just don't think nobody can handle them. So, but I just want to
clearly the two best teams in the state.
I just kind of want to say that
for them to be matched up in the quarterfinals, I think is a just mistake by the state and the way it's set up. So the KHSAA needs to fix that.
And I will say this: what's going to be interesting is the fact that with Corbin's defense as good as they are, and Bull's speed, it's
5. They've only give up 5 points a game.
They have
this year.
What's that old saying? The immovable force versus the immovable object. We'll find out tomorrow night in Boyle County. So I just want to kind of.
John, are you going? By the way,
no, I'm not. I ain't gonna be able to get to go, but I just kind of wanted to knick-knack on that, because I felt like that deserved a little bit of recognition, because we don't see that very often around here, and we don't. We don't see a 1 versus 2.
It's a huge game.
So. It is. It's a big game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So the only thing left to do is go through our lock picks. So upset pick of the week. Last week, I've got it. Should be on the bottom there now. I won my upset pick of the week last week, and I was the only one that won. The stats are running across the bottom.
Let's see here.
Let me get this basketball game off.
My upset pick of the day. I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go North Carolina over Clemson, and then my lock of the week, I'm going to go Georgia over Tennessee with the 10 points. I just don't think Tennessee can stay within that region. Georgia's just too good. But it will be Georgia for me next to Auburn. This might be Georgia's first big test that they've had on the road. So,
okay. So that is your upset and your lock. I've got the upset stats from last week going. John, you missed yours, and both Johns did. And then the lock picks last week.
What was your upset last week, Brad?
Simmons, I think you won your lock pick.
What was my lock pick?
Y'all ask me that,
Brad. What was your upset?
Like, write it down.
Why don't you write it down? Write it down.
Because I just go back.
How do we know that you won?
And make a check mark. I go back and make a check mark so I can keep track.
Well, how do we know that
you
won?
Actually.
You don't write it down.
Because all you got to do is watch the show. You got to watch the show. That's what I did.
Well, he's back. He popped up like a ninja.
Watch my own show? Come on.
You got to watch the show. That's what I did. And then check mark or X if we get it right or wrong.
Well, let's see.
That's how that works.
John, did you not just pick? You just picked Clemson or UNC over Clemson. Did you not pick Clemson? I'm not gonna pick one way at one point in the show and then go back and reverse it during.
But I think Clemson will win. But if I had to pick an upset, it would be North Carolina over Clemson.
No, pick an upset. Come on.
All right, let's see. Houston. I'll take Houston over Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State ain't been playing really well lately, and maybe Houston figures it out. And which Houston's got to win 2 more games to even think about getting to a bowl game. So maybe they play good this weekend.
Yep. Let's see. Let's go through. We're gonna find one.
My upset is going to be Northwestern at home over Purdue. They're a 3.5-point underdog, 3-point underdog. I'm going to take Northwestern to get bowl eligibility over Purdue at home. That's my upset.
Is that really an upset? 3 points. I'm looking right now. Sorry, I'm trying to get find one where at least the point spread is bigger than 3. Because I already picked Clemson to beat North Carolina. Sorry, can't do that one. Jeez, there's
really not a whole lot to pick from.
There's not anything good right now. I mean, good Lord. Oregon's a 23.5-point favorite over Arizona State. See, at least John picked at least a 6.5 point. But I'm trying to find one.
Will you come on with it?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to find one. Sorry, I really want to do one that I have Well, you know what? Hey, I did I do this? I did do this. Okay, good. We're gonna do this one. Kansas over Kansas State. Because I said this one during the show. That's a 9.5 point.
Yeah.
So
My lock, I'm taking Missouri. I'm taking Missouri as my lock as an 11-point favorite over Florida.
And I will say this, just for people out there watching, the Bengals are down at halftime 21-10. If they lose this game, there's going to be a lot of jumping off bridges in Cincinnati tonight. The Bengals might not even make the playoffs if they don't win this game.
And also, while we're talking about games going on right now, Auburn has a 42-33 lead in early second half over Notre Dame in Brooklyn.
It's early.
Like I said, early second half. The
yeah, Jerry, Clemson.
My lock. Sorry, I'm going to go with my lock, by the way, because John, did you do yours?
Yeah, I done that, man.
Okay, then it's my turn then. My lock is
yeah, he did.
Michigan in the 19 points. Lock it.
Okay. Nice guys. Lock it in.
Woohoo.
All right, guys. That's going to wrap up our show for Week 12 Game Day Pick'em College SportsCast here. We are presented by the Fanboys, and we are check us out with Home Field Apparel, which is what he is showing there. His shirt. He's got an Auburn shirt on. Go to homefieldapparel.com. Use our code CSCast for a 15% discount. We would appreciate that. You'll get some really cool retro college licensed team gear. And our next show, which I did not change.
It's Sunday.
The date. Yeah. It's Sunday. I didn't change the day. It's Sunday, November 19th.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was looking at it. It's Sunday, November 19th. The rest of it I changed.
I kind of wanted to tell
people weekend wrap-up show.
Well, I wanted to tell people we wouldn't be having our show on Thanksgiving either. So people that would like to know.
We will skip next Thursday, but be with us on Tuesday, and we will do a short version of the Big Fuss show, and then we'll do our Game Day Pick'em show and kind of do it together next week on Tuesday. So all of that said, guys, it's been fun. We will get to this on Sunday, and we will see you guys